Well, howdy there, folks. It is 7:30 p.m. CST on the 5th of September, right? September. And I welcome you back to one of our community nights. Well, Anna, hello there. I hope that you're doing well. And with me, as always, is Playful, our greatest moderator of all time. Playful, how are you?
Pretty good.
Well, all right. I'm glad to hear it. So today, as you can tell, we have some magical potion stuff going on in the background. I'm glad to hear you're doing well, Anna. Today we're talking about a bunch of potion stuff, some real nerd stuff, real nerdy stuff. Some of the potions we'll be talking about will be Harry Potter potions, D&D potions, and some Terraria and Minecraft ones as well. But first of all, I want to get into asking Playful, what potions do you know about? What are you familiar with? If any.
I am, but I can't remember off the top of my head what the heck they are.
It's okay. We'll start with something simple then, if you don't mind. The most simple potions that are in, let's say, media in general, are mostly like, I mean, you can imagine in a game like Minecraft, you just need a little brewing stand, and there's potions that are like water breathing, or weakness, or snowfall, or slow falling, things like that. Or a health potion that you might see in any sort of game, whether it be Dungeons and Dragons, Legend of Grimrock 2, or anything like that. But potions like that, they make fantasy, high fantasy, stuff like that. That's where it all boils down to, is the healing potions. Made out of a root or something like that, some sort of red glowing thing that can be smelted down into a refined ingredient that heals on contact. But there's also things like the polyjuice potion. So Playful, when you hear that name, what do you think it does? What does it sound like it would do?
Really sure.
So it's a it's a polymorphing potion, polyjuice. And yeah, you use it and you take like a hair sample. This is from Harry Potter, by the way. You take a hair sample and you place it inside of the juice, the potion, and then you brew the potion with whatever ingredients you use, right? It's like the tongue of a newt and stuff like that. And when you drink it, you take the form of that person for a limited time, like an hour or two, right? And it's very gross, very unsavory, and it's like a pulp or like a goo that you drink. And two of the characters transform into who they are meant to transform into, and one of them transforms into a cat person. I know a cat person. Wouldn't it be magical if people could just become cat people whenever they wanted to? We don't live in that world right now, unfortunately.
Crazy, but that would be totally cool anyway.
We don't quite live in that world right now, but in Harry Potter, they most certainly do. It's interesting you don't see more of that, because certainly that is a niche that would very easily be filled in the Muggle world, in the world we live in. But there's also potions, and this is more of like an ingredient than a potion. There is a type of, I don't remember what's like a seaweed that you can eat in Harry Potter that lets you grow gills and fins on your body. So it's like a fish potion. Which is,
sure what that's called either.
It's very strange. And potions like that, you see a couple of them, but they never really explain a huge amount of how the potions are made besides brewing. Some other good ones are things in Minecraft like blaze powder, fermented spider eye, and magma cream, making potions like fire resistance, invisibility, and leaping. So, you have an invisibility potion. I feel like that's a power that's too great for most people to handle.
That would be.
So, assuming it doesn't have any horrible side effects, right? Like it just heals you, or it just makes you invisible. I think if I could be invisible for a short time, I don't know what I would do. It's kind of crazy to even imagine, because I can't imagine people not being able to see me while I can see them. Like, right? Just walking around being invisible. I can't imagine that. And I think that that's more power than any one person should have. But certainly the idea is, it has its temptations, because I think everybody wants to experience that kind of, that power of being like a mysterious, like, oh, I'm a ghost. Really, you're not a ghost, but Like you could pretend to be a ghost or pull the ultimate prank or whatever you decide to do, rob a bank, stuff like that. That's as far as I'll go with it. But people have all sorts of ideas about what they would do with that. But like a leaping potion, letting you jump great distances without, being concerned with falling. You could like jump on a skyscraper, really jump super high. I mean, that's kind of incredible too. But in games like Minecraft, potions, they're kind of like a secondary thing. They don't make you overpowered. They just give you an edge. Because, that game is pretty difficult on the like modded and more hardcore difficulties. But in D&D, there are oils and potions. Here's one. The oil of etherealness. Beads of this cloudy gray oil form on the outside of its container and quickly evaporate. The oil can cover a medium or smaller creature, along with the equipment it's wearing and carrying. Applying the oil takes 10 minutes. The affected creature gains the effect of etherealness spell for 1 hour, meaning you can traverse the ethereal realm as if you are some kind of ghost or ethereal being. So, I don't know what that's like, traveling through the ethereal realm, but I imagine if you are having some kind of like crazy experience, it's like going into like, I want to say a purgatory. It's kind of like you're in purgatory and you're just like floating around, silver cord attached to you like your umbilical cord. And imagine the sights of like another world that you can just enter into with a potion smeared on you. It's creepy. It's very creepy.
Yeah, I have to agree. Holy moly.
I'm already confused enough in our universe, in our dimension, let alone going into the ether dimension.
Yeah.
So another one, maybe the most dangerous one of all, is the filter of love. So, typical potion of love problem. You give someone the potion of love, they fall madly in love with you, but it's like they're too in love with you, and you're kind of like, I didn't actually like you this much. And this is a thing that has been found in many, many books where it's like, the potion of love, it's more trouble than it's worth. Just like invisibility. It's too much trouble. No one is really meant to have that kind of power. And oftentimes you find that it is like a Faustian contract, a deal with some sort of unscrupulous and malevolent being. And when you, even in like a movie like Aladdin, when Aladdin is like, hey genie, can you like make this woman fall in love with me? He's like, I can't grant that wish. Creep. And many a young man have wished that they had a love potion, and a young woman as well, I'm sure, but the love potion is the quintessential teen drama magic, I would say. A very, very common one. But there's the potion of clairvoyance. Gain the effect of a clairvoyant. An eyeball bobs in this yellowish liquid, but vanishes when the potion is opened. So clairvoyancy, you read minds and see things before they happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty useful. Not only can you understand the world around you better, maybe see into the other dimensions, but like, I think this is another one that's too powerful for its own good. Reading somebody's mind, Playful. I know you, right? I know you an okay amount. I think we're pretty okay friends, just from our talks and stuff. And we've been doing this for a while, so we know each other an okay amount. I don't want to read your mind, though. I may think the world of you. I don't want to read your mind. I don't want to see inside your mind. That's for you. It's a private space. And being able to do that, to invade somebody's mind like that, that is not okay.
Definitely
And
not.
it might even be worse than a love potion, because people's minds, lizard brain and intrusive thoughts. People think things they don't actually think, right? Like someone might think like, oh, that was a nasty thought, but we don't actually believe that. We just thought it for a second. And being able to tell someone's thoughts and feelings just by listening to them, that's like the ultimate goal of like a police interrogator, right? Or some kind of like a questioner or something like that, where it's like you take the potion and then you just like know if somebody's lying to you or not. Like that's anyone who works for the police or whatever would love that. like a polygraph
Oh,
test,
dang sure.
except for it's like completely accurate and you know what they're thinking. Like they tell you what crime they committed, how they did it, why they did it. You just ask them the question and they'll be like, oh, don't think about it, don't think about it. But then they think about it because, you know, it's the elephant in the room. You can't stop from thinking about it once it's been mentioned.
Another potential problem that some might have is if they're thinking about somebody in a certain way, and then the mind reader's like, ew, get that image out of your head,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing.
Because, you know, people have thoughts about other people, regardless of what they are. And, like, I can't control if I'm like, oh, that person's really cute or that person is really attractive to me. Like, if I think that way, I just think that way. And if somebody hears that, I mean, that's kind of embarrassing for me because, you
Yeah.
know, I don't necessarily want somebody to understand everything that's going through my mind. It's already complicated enough without a second person having to deal with it.
Yep.
But it's once again, it's a dangerously powerful thing to just drink a potion and be fine. Okay, here's an even worse one: the potion of flying.
Okay, that sounds a little far-fetched.
Right? So okay, so when you drink this potion, you gain flying speed equal to your walking speed for 1 hour, and you can hover. If you're in the air when the potion wears off, you fall unless you have some other means of staying aloft. The potion's clear liquid floats to the top of its container. It has a cloudy, white impurities drifting in it. So that's horrible. You can just stop flying in the middle of the air. Just an hour later, you have to have like a timer on your phone to tell you when your potion's about to wear off. Because if not,
Or
you
like a
just,
watch or something.
or something. Because otherwise, you just slam into the ground from whatever height you were at, and you're paced.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
that would
awful.
hurt.
That would hurt real bad. And I, once again, like, I don't think this is the worst one. I think clairvoyance might be the worst one, or it's a toss up between clairvoyance and the love potion, of course. But it's not good. Like people being able to fly just from drinking something. It's like if you had an energy drink and it made you like run super fast. You know,
Gosh.
it's too much. It's way too much. People that would give way too much power. It's not a good idea. Here's another one: the potion of giant strength. When you drink this potion, your strength score changes for 1 hour. So, let's say you had a strength of like, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger has a strength of 5 out of 10. Like, he's the strongest man in the world. This would give you strength 11 out of 10. You would be so strong, you could lift cars, you could lift multiple cars, and you'd be fine. That's too much. Once again, too much. And it's like, it's so powerful. It's so unbelievably, ridiculously powerful that you can just see it going so wrong, so very wrong. And those are most of the good D&D ones. So as far as Terraria goes, this is a good one too. Very useful for some people. Okay, you're gonna like this one, Playful. The the potion of change gender.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy, right?
Yeah, it seems really weird, but
Which allows you to change the gender on command. The effect is permanent, lasting indefinitely until another change gender potion is used to change your gender back. So the potential of this is vast. I mean, if you were just like, hey, I want to be a woman for a few days, you know, drink a potion, there you go, you're a woman. You're like, oh, I want to be a man, you know, let's say you've always wanted to be a man, and you've always wanted to experience like a romance or camaraderie on that level. Just drink a potion, you're fine. I have no idea what that is like, drinking a potion, and like a minute later, like you have a female body or a male body. That's pretty out there for me. But this is the kind of crazy stuff that happens in Harry Potter, where it's like, oh my gosh, you just drink a potion and you're fine. Or you're like an immortal, or a woman, or a man, or a cat. You're suddenly just a cat. It's like, oh my gosh, man, that's way too ridiculous. The magic in that world is so overpowered that it's like, if you're not a magic user, then you're just basically like, you're just like an ant. You know, you have no chance against them. One second. I had to charge my phone. But yeah, some of these potions are really, they'd be really useful if we had them in real life. They'd be really, really useful. Mm-hmm. Let's see another couple of good ones. Potion of hair dye. So this one isn't as useful, right? It's kind of just like if you just decide you want to change your hair color. This is the least invasive and the least dangerous one I think we can find. Literally, it just makes your hair a different color. And you find a potion of whatever color you'd like, and you drink it, and your hair is a different color. Not so bad, not so crazy. Just a little bit weird, but, you know, it's not so bad. It could certainly go a lot worse. Now, I have for you guys a very special thing to watch, which is my favorite potion making game in the world, actually. It is the potion making simulator in Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, the video game. And in this game, it lets you change temperature. Make sure you're taking a look at this, Playful. It's actually really cool. The way this works is you are trying to make the water change color, and by doing this, you change the heat, you change the ingredients you pour in, and the color is telling you what the current change of the potion is and where it needs to go next. So to change something to blue, you add in the appropriate colored potion and it changes it that way, and it lets you know that you're advancing along the course. But it lets you pour stuff in and put ingredients in and heat up the cauldron and stuff like that. It's very fun. It's very fun. And I have no idea what a volubilis potion is, but I imagine it does something crazy, some crazy thing. This is probably my favorite potion making minigame I've ever seen. I mean, there aren't that many of them, so it's not like there's a lot of competition, but certainly it's nice. It really does give you the feeling like you're some kind of, you know, witch or wizard who's like brewing a potion for whatever evil schemes they might have. The shrinking solution. It's very Alice in Wonderland, isn't it?
Yeah.
But some of them give you little beetles and stuff to pour in there too, which is it's good fun. Okay, so take up the random potion effects table that I brought you. I want you to find one on here that is PG, because some of these are not PG. Some of these are not PG. I know a few of them are not PG, but a few of them are really funny. Okay, I'll give you one. So this is a table of 100 potential random potion effects that you could find by drinking a sour potion, right? And I'll give you one of these. You grow an extra toe on each foot. God, it's horrible. So you drink a potion, and then this is actually something that happens in Harry Potter, where Hagrid just like shoots this spiraling beam at a character's butt, and the tail just comes out. Like, you just mutate instantly. That's horrible. Potions are extremely dangerous. Okay, so find one for us that you like. The wood sharpening potion. Oh my gosh, Harry Potter. Here's another one. You fart loudly every 1d4 minutes. Oh, that's horrible.
Oh, be a pain.
It's horrible. Like, you wish that on your worst enemy during like an important business meeting or something.
That's about the only time I probably would. Other than that, I would not wish it on myself.
Okay, this one's good. Potion of sentient clothing. Gosh. So, you spill this one on your pants, and suddenly your pants are like, you know, get me off of you. You know, they're like trying to leave your body, and you have to like fight to stop them from like the zipper from getting you or something, because they're just trying to leave you as quick as possible. Oh my gosh, that's a crazy one. I haven't thought about having sentient clothes before, or at least in a while. There's that what movie was that? Was that a Kevin Costner movie, or it was a movie where there's like The Secret Life of Clothes? That's real, right? I didn't just make that up, did I?
I think you did because I've never heard of that.
Okay. There's a joke about that somewhere, but yeah, just a bunch of like socks wandering around trying to find someone to wear them, stuff like that. Crazy, crazy stuff. So here's another one. Your body slowly starts to become transparent, and you eventually become invisible. Lasts until you get hit. So like you run into a wall and you become visible again, but like you're just like, oh gosh. It's like the ending of Back to the Future, where his hand starts to disappear.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
I can't recall, but that is just weird.
It's great. You imagine that, like, you start turning invisible and you're like, someone help me, what do I do? And someone just slaps you and you're fine. You're good. It's just the fear of being invisible and not going back is a little scary. Here's a good one. Whoever drinks this potion experiences a very vivid daydream from his childhood that leaves him shaken for 1 to 3 hours. So, I like to think that a lot of these mystical potions, right, that change people or give you vivid dreams, or even like shamans from different cultures around the world, tinctures and things, even some sort of drugs, have been used to evoke sort of spiritual journeys, you could say. And I'm not a psychonaut by any means, right? I don't really take anything that isn't prescribed to me by a doctor. I'm not really certain what your views on that are, Playful. Would you say that you're about the same?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I've seen people, my brother, for instance, having really bad reactions to certain things. And that has taken me off of enjoying most forms of recreational substances. And I think, I don't know, a lot of these potions do sound just recreational, like you would just use them for goofing or for pranks or for some sort of devious purpose. But I'm not sure I would drink any of these, even like the ones that like give you benefits or something, because it's just really kind of crazy, the idea of like flying. It's too much for me. But I have to admit, this potion minigame, while being very simple and very easy, it does sort of get the point home of just being a wizard. It's a quality of life thing that being a wizard, it makes you do little tiny things to your potion, and it makes you just feel like you're in the mood, you're in the situation, you're immersed. And I don't really think you find stuff like that in many of these kinds of games, and potions definitely are something that get overlooked in these games. I'm surprised they even made one for this particular Harry Potter, but they've always tried to add little things here and there for these games. Let's see. Okay, here's one. The potion is a heavy mist. On consumption, your skin turns slimy as you gain water breathing for 1 to 4 minutes, but lose the ability to breathe above water. So you become a fish person. Anything that turns you into, like, that makes you join the monster mash a little bit. Like, you get, like, gills and you become, like, a fish, like a chthonic for a little while. I'm really wary of turning into a fish monster. Like, it's not my favorite thing, and I wouldn't be against, like, being a fish man if it wasn't like not a horrible fish man, because my friends would still be my friends, and some people would really like me being a fish man, I'm sure. But I don't want to be like a creepy weirdo fish man. You know what I mean? I want to be like a, a attractive fish that you could see.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that would look like, but certainly it would be my hope instead of being some kind of a, maybe more man than fish, like a merman. A merman I could handle. I think a lot of people have hopes of being a merman or a mermaid, but like we've talked about this on the show a little bit on Cast Talks. But I don't ever want to be like more fish than man. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
top
that'd
half
be real
fish,
strange.
top half fish, bottom half man. Like it's not good. No one wants that.
Yeah.
So here's another one. Okay, a cabbage potion. A potion that transforms its drinker into a cabbage. Roll a 1d20. That's how many days the person stays a cabbage. On a 20, they become permanently a cabbage. This potion includes telepathy for the cabbages that you may find nearby you.
Wow.
I love that one. That's my favorite one so far.
Yeah, that's funny.
He just, yeah, you. Oh, that's horrible. Okay, so, I like to think that all cabbages have a hive mind, and you link into the hive mind of the cabbages when you transform into one. Oh, you become a literal Cabbage Patch Kid. But yeah, potions in like video games and stuff, there's always those potions that make you stronger or make you okay, this one's grow feathers for 1d8 hours. That's not so bad. I can handle feathers. So here's another one. A potion that if poured on the ground will grow an acre of trees overnight. Wow, that would really fix global warming, wouldn't it? Gosh, I'm so jealous of these crazy wild Harry Potter potions. It could just solve so many problems. Well, which of these have you found the most interesting so far, Playful?
Them honestly. They all sound really neat.
So here's another good one. You grow a beautiful ginger beard down to your knees. So do you like facial hair on anyone, Playful? Do you find that attractive?
It depends. Like, if it's clean shaven, looks neat and everything, that is fine. But if it looks like rough and just
To your
not taken
knees.
care of,
Yes, Anna, all the way to your knees. So you don't like mountain man beards?
no, not really.
Not really. To be fair, I've never been a mountain man myself. Though I have, my beard doesn't really grow very long. It's just like a fairly even beard across my face. I just shaved today actually, so it's very light. But yes, I don't know. I don't even have red hair, so it would literally just be like a man with brown hair who had like a red beard going all the way to his knees. Unless you were like trying to make like a beard wig, which they do exist, fake beard, I guess. You could really make some money with that one if you found the right market for it. But I don't know if I want even a beard that goes down to my chest, let alone my knees. Gosh, it's beautiful though. It says it's beautiful. If you were doing like a dwarf cosplay, you could do that. Okay, here's a really nasty one. You forget everything that's happened over the last 2 days. So I could see somebody performing like a crime and then drinking this, and they'd be like, "Oh, I don't know what happened." And you wouldn't. You would completely be plausibly deniable because you wouldn't know what happened.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Oh my gosh, okay. Here's one. I think this is another permanent mutation, unfortunately. You grow a third eye in your forehead, granting you +2 perception, which imagine that's a lot. You gain a literal third eye. Do you want a third eye, Playful?
That would be too weird.
So, I don't want a third eye. I think that's strange. That's the kind of thing that you don't want to see. That's the kind of thing you're like a hat on your head to cover up. Because I have never heard of someone having a third eye. I'm sure it's possible. I'm sure someone in history has. If you could like see like or have like a mind ray that shot out of your eye, or like a cyclops beam, or if it was like a literal or a figurative third eye as well, lets you like see into the cosmos or something, then maybe, because you'd be like an awesome X-Men. But if it's like just a third eye that lets you see a third better, that's not worth it. Just not worth it. I don't want to just have an extra eye to worry about. I already have to worry about these two things. Okay, so here's one that I don't see any positive to unless you're a scaly, which I'm not particularly like that. Dark green potion, tastes cold, and you transform into a lizard man permanently. Oh my gosh. I don't want to be a lizard man either.
That would be just a little too weird.
So you love dinos, but you don't want to be one. I once did an ACX production. Anna knows about ACX. It is a Amazon site that you use to connect audiobook narrators to book producers. And one of the most embarrassing and funniest books I've ever had to do was, and this is possibly not PG, so be prepared. It was called My Dinosaur Lover. Awful. It's about a woman who falls in love with a Tyrannosaurus Rex man. Top half Tyrannosaurus Rex, bottom half man. I know, Anna, I know. It was okay. Like, it wasn't that good, but it was okay. And I always seem to drag my feet on these books. But, gosh, what a strange time. What a strange narration to do. You're nice. Gosh. I feel like I should not have done that book, right? Because that's not good PR. But I guess it's everyone does something, right? Everyone does something that they have to maybe at some point explain. But yeah, I guess it's not so bad. It's just man, there's some books on ACX if any of you are really looking for bad books that I've done audio recordings for, and this is like first generation Cassius Mishima voice acting, so it's not very good. It's very robotic and stilted and monotonous. It's not quite as personality and personable as I am now. So I would not expect you, or I would not want you to expect the same quality that you might get today. But they're out there if you look for them. I mean, really, they're really quite easy to find. So here's another one. The drinker must dance until they fall unconscious. They do not know that they must fall unconscious and will resist all attempts to make them do so. So you become a combative dancer. Gosh. So this is a strange one because if you can imagine that somebody would dance uncontrollably until exhaustion and unconsciousness, there's a great episode of the Chilluminati podcast, which isn't really that. It's kind of not PG sometimes, but I'll only mention it this one time, of people who danced until much worse things than exhaustion ended up happening to them. And
Oh dear.
yeah, I know, dancing to the end of their existence, and that's a horrible thing that has happened randomly in history. No one really knows why, but it's interesting, a phenomenon regardless. Here's one. The drinker turns a deep green and can photosynthesize, but must consume dirt and or fertilizer to do so. That's awful. That's awful.
Yeah, that totally sounds awful.
So I don't like the smell of fertilizer, and I don't like dirt. I might be able to take a little bit of peat moss, but that would still not work for me. But photosynthesizing, I mean, it doesn't sound so bad. It's just, you become a plant person. You basically become a... There's this movie about this boy who's born with like photosynthetic abilities, and he's like some kind of a religious icon for changing climate change for the better. And it's not a very good movie from what I've seen, but it is kind of interesting that he stands outside in the sun to get his energy. He doesn't seem to eat anything, and he just sort of soaks up the sun rays to gain his strength. It's a weird one. Here's a terrible one. The drinker's nose is inverted and sinks into their head. Oh gosh, that's horrible.
That's really
This is
weird.
you wouldn't wish this on your worst enemy.
Nope.
It's like these are permanent too, so once it happens, it's just like, okay, enjoy your nose.
You're
Gosh,
stuck that way.
you're stuck. You're just stuck. You're just stuck. Okay, here's one. You are set on fire. That is terrible. You just spontaneously combust when you drink this potion. Oh my gosh, some of these are horrible. Some of these are absolutely nightmarish.
Yeah, bro.
Okay, here's one. The character can only speak in haikus. Each haiku must reference a vision of nature in some way. The sun sets promptly. The dungeon breathes a foul stench. Goblins await us. The haiku potion. Okay, so I know. It's really, that's like the kind of thing that you would give a bard before a performance so that they would not mess up their haikus. But I've never been terribly good at making haikus. That's not something I've ever practiced.
Yeah, that's just wrong.
So forcing someone to say everything in haikus, I don't know. Maybe that could be a good lesson in art and learning about art, but just I don't think anybody should have to speak in like riddles on purpose or as like a torture device.
Oh no, that's just too much.
It's too much. I mean, many of these things are really awful. Really just like would wreck your life if it happened to you. Oh no, this is horrible. This potion has a bubbling red texture. You have the sudden urge to go to the privy. You have 10 minutes, after which time you are incapacitated for the next 24 hours, at the end of which you fall unconscious and successfully lay a fertilized egg. The egg takes.
Wow.
I know, this was horrible. The egg takes 1 year to hatch as the dragon wormling imprints on you after it is born. So you lay a dragon egg. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, you lay an egg. Gosh, that's like a nightmare. You're like, I have to go to the bathroom, and then you just pass out from laying the egg, and you wake up like the next day. Like, oh my gosh, what is that? Dragon
Yeah.
egg. Just awful. Here's one. The drinker becomes extremely physically attractive for 1d4 hours. This is the kind of thing that you drink before like a party or something, right?
Hmm.
There's a lot of evil potential in this one as well, which I wouldn't trust anyone to to do any sort of anything except for evil with it. Okay, here's one. You begin growing hair all over your body. After 1d4 days, all your hair begins to fall out unless you drink more. So I'm actually not so upset about the hair falling out part because I've thought sometimes about removing my body hair, but you basically turn into Harry and the Hendersons, or like a Sasquatch, right? You just grow so much hair. You're like, I can't go out in public anymore because there's so much hair on me.
Yeah,
And
you'd be too embarrassed to go
I would be too embarrassed if I had like hair on my face, like a monkey's hair or like a Sasquatch hair. That's too much.
way too much.
Here's another one. The potion has a strong, tangy flavor. You feel it course through your body. When it reaches your feet, your shoes/boots melt off. I have actually dealt with melted shoes before. I used to be in a marching band, and they would make you march on a asphalt parking lot for up to 4 hours a day, from the hottest part of the day till evening. And I actually marched so much that the bottoms of my shoes turned to like a weird abstract painting of melted plastic.
Wild.
Yeah, I know it's wild. So I kind of get what this is talking about a little bit. And I have to say, melted shoes is a very strange thing. It's very bizarre. Oh, I gotta sneeze. It was like a partial sneeze to it. It wasn't a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a good one. You feel extraordinary fluency and efficacy in your words, and you are able to express your thoughts with great clarity in any language for 1d6 hours. Gosh, that'd be so useful. I like the idea of potions that basically grant you some kind of boon for a temporary time. Like, let's say they're really rare ingredients, but when you find them and drink them, like you're just like a super being for a short period of time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Here's one. The potion appears as a silvery, translucent liquid that, when drunk, makes your body fall limp as you become a ghostly apparition for an hour. So if you've ever seen the TV show Lock and Key, there's this door they can go into that makes them turn into a ghost apparition. I think their body just kind of flops into the ground, but like they're like a out-of-body astral projection sort of thing going on. Basically lets you astral project for a little while. So I'm not really sure what that would be like to astral project yourself across the world, but an hour is kind of not that much time to do anything. I'm not sure how fast you travel while you're a ghost person, but I feel like if I had an hour, I wouldn't be able to make it anywhere important to spy on or possess anyone that could actually change anything, right? I might be able to make it to the governor of my state's home and then be like, ooh, put on these different color pants or something. But I wouldn't be able to, like, I wouldn't be able to make a real change in any way, you know? I wouldn't be able to affect anything important.
Yeah.
Which is too bad. Because I think everybody wants to be able to do a little bit of world changing and world bending with their ghost powers. Oh, I'd be like Danny Phantom. Do you know that show, Danny Phantom?
I have heard of it, never seen it, but I have heard of it, and it sounds really interesting.
So, Danny Phantom, and this is like an aside, you know, going off on a Danny Phantom tangent. Danny Phantom is a young man who is half ghost, right? He can transform into a ghost version of himself, and he gets like this cold, chilling breath whenever there's a ghost nearby, and he has to fight ghosts because he is a ghost boy and his family are ghost hunters. So it's like a kind of a problem with him, where he's like, oh, it's a problem because if his family knew he was a ghost, then they might try to catch him too.
Yeah, not good.
But who opens a portal to the ghost dimension anyway? It's such a bad idea.
You would think, anyways.
I mean, you know, crazy parents, they just decide, oh, I'm going to open the ghost dimension. But that's never a good idea. Never. Unless it's like a ghost dimension of benevolent beings who want to help everybody, which no ghost dimension is like that. You're just asking for trouble. I mean, come on. You know better. I know better, and I'm not even a super crazy scientist person.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's a cartoon, and cartoons often have stupidity as a high quality in their characters, which is fine. Adults in cartoons are always stupid as well.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, we've talked about potions. If you could make a potion playful, what would you make it do? Assuming you have any ideas.
I really don't, but that would be cool to have any kind of superpower. For sure.
There's this potion in Harry Potter called the Draught of Everlasting Life, I believe it's called. And, you know, it does what it sounds like it does and makes you live forever. I think the idea of being an immortal person is, like, tempting, as long as I don't join the monster mash. I've said this a million times. If I can remain, like, attractive or myself and not, like, become a creepy Palpatine or something, you know, I'm fine with immortality. But, like, if I get gross and emaciated and turn into, like, a weird Nosferatu vampire, I'm not doing it. I'm out. I won't be a part of that. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it.
Nope.
I want to at least look partially attractive as an immortal person. Otherwise, why are you immortal? You just stay inside your house and be a vampire person. It's like, oh, well, come on.
Yeah.
What's the point? But there are crazy and bizarre and sort of enticing as well kinds of potions in every universe, and they oftentimes kind of are not worth it. They're just not worth it. I mean, oh, here's one. The drinker's head becomes invisible. They become deaf, dumb, and mute for 1d4 minutes. Literally, you just get an invisible head. You don't want an invisible head.
No.
it's just not worth it. You don't want to get invisible head. You don't want to become a fish man or a lizard man or a third eye. You don't want any of those things. Just stick to Coca-Cola or stick to an energy drink like I do every now and again. The most unhealthy thing that I do is drink those, which even these ones have them with sugar, so they're better than many of them. But we're getting close to wrapping up for today. So, Playful, do you feel like you've learned a little bit more about magic potions today?
Definitely.
I would say that you have been given the 101 on these particular things, the remedial beginner's course.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you should watch Harry Potter someday.
Maybe.
Yeah, it might be a good thing for you. I've thought about having watch sessions. I've thought about that. I don't know how that would really go down because I don't know if we have enough people that are interested in watching movies with me, but maybe someday.
Maybe.
Maybe someday. But either way, I've had fun. And I hope that all of you guys out there have had fun too. Exploring the world of potions. We've gotten most of the interesting ones I can think of. Maybe not ones that makes you turn into a tree or something, but
Yeah, maybe not so much that.
we've gotten most of the interesting ones though. And I would say that besides that, this is going to be the end of our topic for today. So, Playful, did you have anything you wanted to add before we go?
No, not really.
Well, I'll say thank you then. Thank you to Anna for being so awesome and typing into the chat and showing up as always. Thank you to everybody lurking out there. I know who you are. You don't have to say anything, but I know who you are. And, and as always, everybody have a safe night. We'll see you next time. And take care. Have a great week.